Good afternoon. Today's painting, I think, will be florals in a pumpkin again, but a very loose pumpkin. And I have a few colors here that I'm thinking about. I'm going to be using my fall primaries from KMS, mostly Autumn Sky and Caramel Latte, and then vanilla for my florals, maybe some of these cozy neutrals as well. But I'm going to start with a little bit of a pumpkin shape with my Caramel Latte and Autumn Sky. So just a little outline and first section of my pumpkin, tapping in those colors. That's my next section. One more section here. Okay, so that's my pumpkin base. Tapping in a little bit of extra color in those pumpkin cheeks. Okay. And then my florals, I want vanilla. So some white florals with a little, maybe a little pink in there. So I wanted to use this brush. I pulled it out. I think I will. Let me start with some pink flowers, and then I can add in the white florals and pull the color out from the pink ones. So getting this cozy neutral palette. This particular color is one of my favorites from KMS. You can see it looks like I still have a lot in there. Thank you, QP. But painting pumpkins is pretty easy once you've done a few. It gets easier. Like this brush right now, I haven't used too much, and so it's still a little bit difficult for me to maneuver. I'm getting there. So that's one flower. go a little bit more full. I'll have some leaves coming out here. I'll put that big brush away and go back to my Princeton 8. I want to use some vanilla. It's hard to see that until another color comes in. It's a beautiful neutral. And then I think I'm going to grab some autumn sky. So I'm pulling in a color from the pumpkin. That really ties it together. Go back to my vanilla. Let's see. I think those first florals, they're still wet enough to get some color bleeds, so I'm picking another color that's in my pumpkin, tapping it in there. I've been painting for 3 years, QB. 3 years. Pretty much only florals that I focus on. That's what makes me happy. I do paint landscapes in a loose style once in a while. But it's much quicker for me to paint loose florals than to paint a landscape. Okay, so now I need to get some green in here. I'm gonna stick with these colors and use the blue pumpkin and some caramel latte and just mix a green. So I'm taking a spot on my palette to just get some blue pumpkin in, and then I can show you that mixing. So that's my blue pumpkin. And that's a pretty green. It was just a little bit of caramel latte, and then I'll tap in a bit of that autumn sky to make it a little bit dustier. Thank you. Okay. Just want to make enough that I don't have to go back and keep trying to recreate it. So here's my attempt at filling up all those little white spaces. I want to add some greenery in terms of leaves. So looking at my places where I have some gaps. And then a few places in between these cream colored florals so that you can see those petals a little bit better. putting that leaf behind that petal so that you can see the outline really just made that one pop. So I'll do that in a few more places here. Thank you, Hopeful Optimist. I don't want to add too much to this. I really like how balanced it is right now. I could probably add a bit more dark color here. Yeah. I really love how versatile that vanilla color is. Great for bleeding colors next to it and those soft transitions. I could have made my pumpkin out of vanilla as well and then had the colors of the flowers bleed in. I think that would have looked really pretty. It's still wet, so I don't want to add any other details, but I'd like to go back in and do something to make those centers pop. So either adding a little bit of a darker color, maybe even adding ink. I think this could use a little definition from ink. As I debate that, do we have any questions? I can show you what I painted yesterday. I've got that next to me. If you weren't here, I went for a little garden scene with a bat. Very different color palette. You missed the bat yesterday. Really cool. Thank you. Thanks, Hopeful Optimist. Yep. I am co-hosting a watercolor challenge over on Instagram, Watercolor Haunts. So if you have Instagram, you could check that hashtag out. Week 1 is all about pairing pumpkins with, what did we pair pumpkins with? Ghosts. And week 2 is pumpkins and bats. This paper is Baohong paper. It's my favorite paper to work on. I really love it. It's a great size for me. I love their textured paper as well. But this one gives me a little bit more space. Great color bleeds on that. I'm actually putting together my favorite KMS colors. So I picked out my matte colors and I'm working on my shimmers. Let me show you the shimmers that I have. So I'm trying to narrow down these metallics. I have more than that, but into my favorite 6. I just started some more, so I've got some pinks and I'm going to do some more blues that I found. But this was a process of me narrowing down my favorite 6 matte colors. So hopefully in a couple months, this will be available as a set. My 6 favorite matte colors and 6 favorite shimmer colors. The vanilla made the cut, so I'm going to have vanilla in there, and same with this pink as well. There'll be blueberry cobbler, forest green, and honey. Anne Rowe says arches is great, but so spendy. I know that. I have some arches that I have stored up for commissions if people want that, or it's a bigger size pad for me. Academy works nearly just the same for such a better price for cotton. I am in agreement with you, and this gets the job done, and I feel like I'm using the Academy, Baohong Academy. So there's like 2 grades of Baohong. I've heard a lot of people work on Academy. You can find this paper that I'm using on my Amazon favorites. It is an affiliate link, so I do get a tiny amount of the purchase price if you buy through me, but I just list all my favorite papers there. So I have this paper. This is like everyday, doesn't have to be a pretty piece, but I just want to get some paint on paper that I like. This one, let me show you a finished piece on that one. Right. It's not 100% cotton, and 20 sheets of this is about $7. So I don't feel that bad about my watercolor addiction when I buy that and in between go through a pad of Baohong. So those are my 2 favorites. I also like handmade paper from Leather Village. I have one of those. This is painted on that handmade paper from Leather Village. Love the bleeds on this one as well. This video I will upload to my YouTube channel probably by tomorrow afternoon, in case you got here late and wanted to see me paint it. I'm thinking I will add a little bit of ink to the centers. It's probably still a little wet, so I'm gonna give it a bit to dry. And I could do some of that live. I think I only have one video where I added ink live. I usually do that afterwards. And if you're still there, how long have you been painting with watercolor? Sorry for the noise, I just want to get a little bit closer if I'm going to be inking. Oh, 8 years, wow. What's your favorite thing to paint? And what's the secret for such a long hobby? Or is that your job? Heidi says, I love to paint florals, and it's your job-ish. I know that feeling. You get commissions, but mostly do logos. Very cool. I'm a chemistry teacher by day, and this is what I do for fun after work. And I will take on commissions once in a while, but for the most part, it's whatever I'm finished painting with. If people would like it, I list it on my Etsy account. I'd love to see your florals. So if you can message me or something so I can check out your account later, Heidi, I'd love to do that. Heidi says the problem with mine is I usually give them away for sell them or before or sell them, yeah. I can imagine how much you would accumulate in 8 years. Wow. I hope I still love to paint in 8 years. This part to me is not quite as exciting as painting my florals. I never know if this is something people are interested in watching. I can usually paint and keep an eye on the chat, but if I'm adding ink, I kind of need to focus on what I'm doing. So should I do a few more videos where I include inking? Let me know. Heidi, when I do line work, I usually put on a TV show. Oh, I can't wait to see your florals. Do you do a lot of detailed work? Like, do you often add ink, or is that only a once in a while thing? I go through phases myself where I feel like, oh, this one could use a little extra something. I do too. It is very difficult to do it when I'm so far away, right? I've got my phone in front of me. I find it very therapeutic. But some of it, it's still a mystery to me to where to put my lines. I don't do it enough. I haven't watched enough artists do it to really pick up on it. Well, now that I've done 2 florals, I think I have to do the lighter colored ones as well. These light ones are a little bit of mystery of where the petals actually are, so a little bit of guesswork, a little bit of deciding on the fly where they're going to be. Pretty sure this was this petal here. Jillian, I feel like these designs would be so cute on greeting cards or holiday cards. Oh, thank you. I feel like Heidi would be, you would at least know how to do that. I've never done prints, and I've never really thought about getting cards done. But I do hand paint individual cards for holidays, and it's getting a little bit too much. Do you have any tips on going to printers or things like that? Thank you, Heidi. Your favorite is letting the pen come up and being loose with the pressure. Yeah, that is a good tip, to keep a loose hand. That's great. I'm using a 0.1 micron. It's a little bit big for when I do my details. This happens to be the only pen I have out. The biggest thing for me, what I would like to learn, is getting comfortable folding my petals and knowing where a fold is. Once in a while I'll throw it in and I feel like it looks good. So yeah, I think I just have to do a little bit more studying for that, to get comfortable. It's all practice, right? I've practiced watercolor enough that I feel comfortable doing that on the fly, but not so much adding ink. Oh, you're also thinking about prints in the future. Yeah, it is. It's tough. I mean, it's so meaningful when you paint your own cards, and people buy them specifically for that, right? It's a beautiful, memorable gift, but it does take a lot out of you. I think I'm actually going to leave it like that for right now. I don't feel like it's done, but it's done enough. It's a good pausing point, I'll say. I have a few of those ghosts and pumpkins that I can show you, and then possibly doing a bat and pumpkin tomorrow. We'll see. A little series of these pumpkin and ghosts, KMS, I think KMS Metallics. Mrs. Hand painted there. You're gonna step out, but definitely go to YouTube to watch you paint. Thank you, Heidi. I really appreciate that. It was great to connect with you here. This one was a design by Iduma, and so was this one. We'll be painting again on Friday together on Instagram. Tomorrow, I think, is going to be the last time of the week that I'll be here with you on TikTok around this time, 4 p.m. And then I have tutoring, so I'll be away. But then again this weekend, I'll be back here. So thank you for joining me today. It was great to chat with you, and so great to meet you, Heidi. Do message me so that I can check out your account. Thanks for spending some time with me today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See you soon.